All right, sounds good. Well, welcome everybody. Hope you're all looking forward to seeing some Hot Turtles action here. I know we're all excited that Donatello managed to sneak out that little victory there. I don't think Khanster was all that excited about being able to play Leonardo. So if you haven't seen the speedrun before, there's a lot of cool movement tech to it and a lot of different attacks that we're going to be using to speed things up. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Khanster adapts to the Donatello run. So we're going to be changing things up a little bit. Time is going to start when he selects his turtle. Generally, we would start on first control, but just to make things a little bit easier to time out, that's usually how we do it for races and marathons. So we should be just about ready to kick things off here. And here we go. So the first stage of this game, you're going to be able to see quite a bit of what this game has to offer. The main thing that we did at the beginning was setting ourselves to manual dash. Most of the special attacks that we have to do with manual dashing. So we want to be able to trigger that at certain points so we can use the attack that we're looking for. You'll be seeing a lot of the flying kick. That is it's a free special, kind of a way to look at it. Normally when you use your special ability, it's going to take a little bit of health every time you hit an enemy with it, but it does do quite a bit of damage. With the dash special it does just a little bit less damage, or actually it does less damage than Raphael, I should say. But it does the same amount of damage, but you don't lose the health for it. So Donatello's kind of cool because he's got a little bit stronger aerial attacks, and his standing special actually has quite a large range to it, so he's got a few advantages on his side. He does have a little bit more defense than Raphael, so he doesn't fall quite as quickly. That's one of the trickier parts about the speed run with Raph, is every little bit does so much damage to him. So Khanster making nice use of the slides. He was actually able to skip by a couple of enemies there. One of the really important things with this speed run is being able to make sure that you're only fighting the minimum amount of enemies. So it's really important that we keep our movement tight. We want to be able to take out just the enemies that trigger the screen to scroll, and we want to try to get off the screen as quickly as possible so more enemies don't spawn. Looks like Khanster's getting a little tied up with these white ninjas here. Those nunchucks can be a little bit dangerous. All of the difficulties have significant differences to the stages. This boss in particular is one of them. Every single difficulty, this boss fight is going to be a little bit different. And the Baxter fight in particular is one of the harder ones to get really, really good at. His patterns are just kind of hard to predict at times. Khanster did a really nice job. Donatello's got a great aerial attack. He was able to juggle him very, very well. Super clean boss fight for Khanster. I'm sure he's quite happy with that.
Alley Cat Blues.
All right, so we're going to be coming up here into Alley Cat Blues. The stage got a little bit narrower room for movement, but we're going to be able to show off some of the enemy grouping that we play around with a lot. He's making good use of the screen throws there. That's the fastest way to get an enemy off the screen. So he's trying to advance the spawns a little bit quicker just so he can get off that screen faster. He was able to kick those orange guys off the screen, so they despawned at that point. Nice use of the manhole cover there. Very nice grouping with that slam throw there. The slam throw is good enough to take out any of the foot soldiers, but it is a little bit slow, so you want to make sure that you get as many of the foot soldiers grouped into it as possible so you can take full advantage of it. Generally, we'll be seeing a lot of the screen throw just because it does remove the enemy right away. Even when you're using the slam throw, you have to wait for the explosion afterwards to finish off before the enemy's truly considered gone. Able to group those guys up nicely with that shoulder tackle there. The shoulder tackle we're going to be seeing quite a bit of here a little bit later. It stuns the enemy and it sets you up in a nice position to be able to slam throw or screen throw or just finish them off with another attack. The shoulder tackle does quite a bit of damage in comparison to your normal standing attack, so that's actually one of the more common combos you'll see in this speed run. With Donatello, I believe the shoulder does 7 damage, just a little bit less than Raphael's. I think he actually has the weakest shoulder attack of all of them, but still significantly more than most of the standing attacks. So here's our Metalhead fight. Khanster's doing a nice job of pinning him in the corner there. And take advantage of some invincibility frames with his special. And just kind of bounce him back and forth like that. Ooh, he caught a punch to the face. Trying to finish him up here quickly. Nice use of that one last free special. That dash kick will get you out of a lot of jams when you don't have enough health for a regular special. You just gotta be careful. Nice recovery for Khanster there.
Sewer Surfer.
Sewer Surfer's our first auto-scroller here. None of the enemies outside the boss you actually have to fight, so he might take advantage of some free enemies to get some extra points, just to kind of guarantee an extra life later on in the game. But he could just choose to play around a little bit, but it's a very safe stage. Good time to sneak in any donations if we have a few. Otherwise, it's always a good time for the runner to catch a water break. So we're going to be coming up on some gates here. If you stay in the bottom left corner, they won't actually hit you, so you can just stand through those. You just got to watch out for those water mines. Ooh, my toe! My toe! So showing off the invincibility frames we get from the standing special there. If you don't hit an enemy, you don't lose any health for it, so we'll actually take advantage of that quite a few times in this run, just to avoid taking damage without losing our position. These are the pizza monsters. Obviously big fans of the Aliens franchise. Not sure how they were formed. I didn't follow the comics well enough to remember the origin story of the pizza monsters, but it's got to be good. Coming up on the Rat King fight here. He's got 2 phases. So we're going to see him using his missiles for the first phase, and he's going to be using water mines for the second phase. Khanster's going to use an attack combo here to get him through the first phase quick, and he's just going to try to finish him off with his standing specials. Use those iframes so those water mines don't do anything to him. So a nice clean fight there. You're coming up and on the Technodrome. This is one of the first really tricky stages. Starts to pull out some of the stops, as it were. We've got a lot of enemies, a little bit more room, so we have a harder time grouping them. These Roadkill Rodneys can be a real tricky bastard. So this next thing we're going to be doing here, this is one point where this is going to be diverging from the normal any percent route. A lot of times you'll see runners using a wrong warp here to skip through a few points of this particular stage right into the boss fight with the first Shredder. Khanster is not going to be doing that today. He's just going to be continuing through the normal playthrough, so we're going to get to show off the Taka and Razar fight. The Taka and Razar fight's actually really, really cool. If you set it up right, it's just a real neat juggle of the 2 enemies. So we're going to see how Khanster does with that. He's making nice use of the slam throws and the screen throws here. He was able to get a couple of those blockers there. Those pink blocking enemies can be pretty tricky when you first pick up hard mode. But they've actually got a neat little trick where if you hit them with the slide tackle, it'll kill them in one shot. Actually, that might not be true with Donatello. I should probably look at that. I know with Raphael, the slide will take him out in 1, but they might actually... I think 10 is the damage that Don's slide does. So we're going to see if Khanster is able to set up the juggle here. Wants to do 1 special. So it looks like Razar didn't want to play. He might be able to pick him up here a little bit later, but he's going to take out Taka first just to get him out of the way. Ooh, caught the fire breath. Looks like he's got the juggle pick back up, though. Nice recovery there. The elevator stage here is kind of a pseudo auto-scroller, a vertical one, if you will. We have to clear all of the enemies on each floor before the elevator will start moving forward. So we're going to use some nice tight enemy grouping here. Nice use of the slam throw to take out that first wave. The timing of these hits can be kind of tricky. If you do it right, you can get them all in one fell swoop and not have to worry about taking any damage, but the timing window is a little bit tight. Your positioning has to be good. So Khanster making nice work of the roadkill Rodneys and the Mausers there. Gotta watch out for these guys and their evil tuning forks. Taking the safety pizza there. Now that he's gotten through most of the danger. Making good use of the shoulder kick combo there. One of the faster ways to get damage, because you can combo a lot of the enemies that way without knocking them down. Most of the enemies will fall from a shoulder kick combo and never get back up again, so that's ideal here. So we've got the tank shredder fight. This is one of the cooler fights and one of the bigger differences from the arcade version. We take advantage of the screen throw mechanic to actually do damage to this boss here. So real unique boss fight that they set up for that. We need 9 hits to the shredder screen. Nice change of perspective there, but Khanster's doing really well setting up those throws. It'd be a little bit tricky because you have to stun these guys first. The other 2 difficulties, you don't have blocking enemies to worry about, so you can just do a normal attack to set up that throw, but very clean fight for Khanster. Alright, so we start the time travel portion of our game. This, for a lot of people, if they remember this game from their childhood, is going to be one of the places where your runs would usually stop, mostly due to the boss here. Very, very tricky. It's going to be the Slash boss, if you aren't familiar with it. He is a prehistoric turtle, and he is not very nice. One of the few enemies that can block, in particular as far as a boss goes, it makes him very, very difficult, especially on hard mode when he's super, super fast. Fortunately for the speedrun, we have a real cool quick kill for that, but if it goes wrong, things can get sour fast, so hopefully we won't see any of that nonsense. Khanster able to avoid the dinosaurs and their exploding rocks. Don't think too hard about it. It's really not worth it. So using the slam throws very nicely. Those axe guys, the blue foot soldiers there, have the most health of any of the regular foot soldiers. These stone warriors here are the exception to that rule. They have more health than anything. So they can be pretty tricky, but if you know where they're going to start, you can kind of manipulate how they're going to charge into the screen. These bomb guys have one job to do. They were each given one bomb, they throw it, and then they leave. So a lot of times you don't have to worry about them at all. Gonna save his bomb pizza here. And take out this axe guy, and then look out for these 3 blockers on the left side or the right side. My other left. Yes, these are the finest pizza delivery drivers in the universe. No thought to the space-time continuum. Got just a couple more groups of enemies here before the boss fight. Got these axe guys and a couple more stone warriors to deal with. Just gonna try to group them up a little bit. Just keep them stunned with that shoulder kick combo. Alright, you're going to see him lining up here on the right side. We're going to try to start the fight right behind Slash and get a normal attack to stun him, and then we're just going to try to shoulder kick him to death. 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh. Not quite enough damage there before he was able to break out, unfortunately. So we're going to see how Khanster recovers from this one. Very, very nice. And he's able to finish it off without a death. Super clean. Very well done. That is not an easy fight to do with Donatello. Especially when you're used to speedrunning with a different turtle, the different damage values make a huge difference for those quick kills. That was a great recovery.
Skull and crossbone.
Alright. Coming into the boat stage here. This is another very tricky one. We've got a lot of stage hazards we have to worry about. All of those little notches you see on the floor are boards that can come up and hit us in the face. Put you in a very bad position when you've got a whole bunch of foot soldiers surrounding you, so we're going to try to avoid that the best of our ability. Khanster's making a nice job. He's doing a nice job dancing around that a little bit. Ooh, he was able to escape thanks to the animation of his shoulder attack. Alright, the yellow frisbee guys here are a real nuisance and one of the bigger problems with this game. Their frisbee, if they get away from you, can hit you on the way out, it can hit you on the way back, and they can just combo you to death by themselves. It's really, really nasty. Gotta watch out for Cannon Guy here. He can really throw a wrench into the works. We gotta deal with these stone warriors here before we can scroll the screen. Being careful to stay away from those falling cannonballs. He's the terror of the high seas. Much like the bomb guys, the arrow guys only have one arrow in their quiver and then they leave. So we don't have to worry about them too much. Saving his bomb pizza here for the final wave of the purple guys. A couple more bomb guys to take out. Ooh, caught one board. One of the hardest screens in the stage. These two frisbee guys, if they get on either side of you, things get way out of hand. Using some of the iframes from the standing special there. Very nice move to get himself out of trouble. Gonna try to combo these stone warriors here and fill up with his pizza before the boss fight. Bebop and Rocksteady is a pretty cool boss fight. You might not have known growing up playing this game, but you only actually have to take out one of these guys. If you take all of the health of one of them, in this case Rocksteady, he'll do the rest of the damage to the other boss. So saves you a little bit of time there. Makes it easier when you can focus on something. So Khanster's doing a nice job here trying to avoid some damage with some invincibility frames. Rocksteady's not playing too nice with him, but he's able to finish him off there with those extra specials. Alright, our next stage here is Bury My Shell at Wounded Knee. This is one of my personal favorite stages. Very, very fast. We can see a lot of enemy skips in this stage, or in some circumstances can't see them, because they happen very fast. But just because of how quickly this stage moves, it can be really, really cool to see how some of the movement tech comes together, some really tight enemy grouping. So Khanster's making nice use of those slam throws again to take out quite a few enemies. He was able to catch both of those blue tuning fork guys with his shoulder, very nice. Just got to get those purple guys off the screen before we can get into the next stage. The timing is a little different to set up. Not being able to count on the purple guys dying in one hit with your specials makes a lot of these techniques a little trickier to pull off. You have to go back for a second round on a lot of enemies. Made nice short work of the Stone Warriors there. Wasn't quite able to skip that last one. Gotta watch out for barrels. Don't know exactly where they're falling from. Never really thought about that one too much. So gotta watch out for these chain whip guys too. If you're not paying attention, they've got quite a bit of range. Not quite as bad as the yellow frisbee guys. So we've got a few groups of the Stone Warriors we have to deal with here. Khanster's going to try to juggle him with his dash kicks. Going to take out this next group with the bomb box. Very nice. He was able to finish that last one off with the helpful falling barrels. Ooh. I disagree, Leatherhead. Very mean. So got a little bit off cycle there. Leatherhead will take 3 hits before he'll go to the other side of the screen. But if you know kind of where he's going to go, you can set yourself up so you can just special him to death. So taking care to avoid that last barrel there before he finishes off Leatherhead. Moving forward in time, once again, another classic stage, Neon Knight Riders. This is one that differs pretty heavily from the arcade version, but they have the same bangin' soundtrack. One of my personal favorites. Kind of like with Sewer Surfing, we don't have to actually fight any of these guys, but sometimes a few extra points never hurt anybody. But for the most part, we get to kind of hang out, relax a little bit before another tricky boss fight. Depending on how things go, you'll see people farming for points on this stage every now and again, just because the next stage coming up can be quite unforgiving, to say the least. So Khanster's through the first section with all of the foot soldiers. We have these question mark bubbles, which are actually pizza. Not sure why they couldn't just be pizza bubbles. I guess they like a little bit of mystery in the future. These guys are just kind of out for a leisurely flight in the middle of the Manhattan evening in 2020. Not sure if that was intentional or not, but they don't try very hard to hit you. They just want to fly their one path. It's hard to find good help in the future. Alright, so Khanster getting himself in position here for the Super Krang fight. It's not a bird nor a plane, it's a big jerk alien. So getting a nice double hit with his down chop there. One of Donatello's strongest attacks. Little trickier because the attacks aren't quite as fast, but Khanster's got him in a nice loop here. Gonna have to avoid some bombs here. Just have to wait this attack out, unfortunately. And Khanster's gonna finish him off with a special there. Very, very nice. That's right, Zoda. The architects of the future work fast.
Starbase, where no turtle has gone before.
Alright. So this is the Starbase, where good runs go to die. Fortunately, Khanster's got a nice stockpile of lives, so we shouldn't see too much trouble here. But I hope I don't curse him. The stage will throw everything at you, including these little electric trash cans. They call them robot walkers, because they just didn't care. They just wanted to make another nuisance boss for the last stage of the game. Doing a nice job of juggling those Stone Warriors, saving the bomb box here for some tricky enemies coming up. A few more of these robot walkers and the axe guys. Great use of the bomb box. trying to group up those enemies the best you can. He's going to take out these white foot soldiers here before spawning the next group, just to give himself a little bit of breathing room. That was a very nice grab there. He was able to set up a nice stun and take the lowest health enemy for the slam, so we didn't waste too much time on that. Khanster's doing a very good job of keeping this stage in check. Got a couple of these yellow frisbee guys to deal with right now. He's just going to boogie off the screen before that guy comes back. Got the frozen ground to deal with. He was able to get out of that section very quickly. A couple of these sword guys to deal with. You got the giant iron ball of death out of the way. Got one more. They really just leave those things laying around in the future. Ooh. Getting caught up a little bit by the stone warriors there. This guy being a real jerk here in the middle, just shooting the ground. So these guys, you actually only need to hit once to get him to run off the screen. He was a little late on that last hit there, so he wasn't quite able to make him flee in terror, but was still able to get through it without too much trouble. Nice use of the throw there. One of the best ways to deal damage to the stone warriors. A little bit quicker than the slam throw. Alright, a few more guys coming out of laundry chutes. Nice use of the bomb pizza once again. Speaking of bombs, this guy just wanted to hang out a little bit longer. Ooh, screen throw. And, ooh, that's not nice. So rude. Almost had them all with the slam, but that guy had other ideas. Just a couple more stone warriors to deal with. We have everybody's favorite bit of RNG in the run, UFO Krang. So this guy has 3 different heights that he can spawn at. We want him to spawn as low as possible so we can hit him with our ground attacks and do more damage quickly. He can spawn low, medium, or high, and if he spawns medium or high, we're forced to use air attacks. Donatello actually does a little bit more damage with his aerial attacks. Ooh, Khanster's getting great RNG on this one, too. Just a little bit more damage he's got to do. Ooh, and he got bubbled. And try to hit him a little bit more. There we go. So didn't have to worry too much about Super Krang or UFO Krang. The Krang series went well. We're coming into our final boss fight here. The Super Shredder fight is another one that's different on each difficulty. You'll notice this guy is very fast, and that is his main feature. He has 3 different attacks. We're going to be abusing iframes to avoid most of them, but mainly we want to get him pinned up against the corner so we can utilize our dash special and do as much damage as possible for free. Ooh, my toe, my toe! That fire attack is a real nuisance. Might see Khanster take a death here just for some extra specials. That'll help him keep Shredder in control a little bit more. And time comes when he loses control of Donatello. And time. 27-27 with Donatello. That's a very nice run. Especially considering I don't think Khanster practices a whole lot with the other turtles. I think he mostly features Raphael. So seeing him just be able to pick up and play on one of the other turtles and have that good of a time was very, very nice. I'm sure he was pretty happy with that run. We get that nice smirk from Splinter, and we get to see the credits, unlike in the other difficulties. Get to enjoy the turtle blimp and all of the different enemies and the developers for the games. So, little extra bonus for everyone, but thank you so much for tuning in for the Turtles in Time run. Khanster was looking forward to this. I know I was. I had a great time being able to do commentary for you. Everyone's been doing an awesome job this weekend and raised a ton of money for charity. So keep up the good work, everyone. We're we're coming into the home stretch, so wish everybody the best for the rest of the marathon.